All right, thank everybody for coming out during this week right before finals. I know you're all pretty busy, but we have a good group of talented poets today. It's been a really fun semester getting to work with everybody. Writing poetry is hard work, and I think a lot of people don't know that. I think you think that inspiration just kind of flutters down from the sky and the poem appears on the page. But that's one of the things we've been working with all semester is just how to revise poems, how to take that inspiration and then turn it into a finished piece on the page. We've done a lot of writing in class. We've done workshopping where we critique each other's work. So these students have been putting their work out there for other people to examine all semester long. And as some of these people will probably attest, reading poetry is even more nerve-wracking than writing poetry. So please give them your good attention. Everything they're going to be reading this semester is work everything they're going to be reading today is work they've done this past semester in our class. And I thought I'd just begin today with a poem by a poet named Dorianne Laux. It's from her book, What We Carry, which is a fantastic book of poetry if you haven't checked it out. But she's got a poem, and it's entitled Dust. And I kind of see this as it's really about the idea of inspiration in writing, writers' kind of reluctance to write at times, and how difficult it is to really find time in your life to actually sit down and write or listen to inspiration at times. So this is Dust. Someone spoke to me last night, told me the truth. Just a few words, but I recognized it. I knew I should make myself get up, write it down, but it was late and I was exhausted from working all day in the garden, moving rocks. Now I remember only the flavor, not like food, sweet or sharp, more like fine powder, like dust. And I wasn't elated or frightened, but simply rapt, aware. That's how it is sometimes. God comes to your window, all bright light and black wings, and you're just too tired to open it. Without further ado, Mr. Tyler Barker.
Good afternoon. The first poem I'm going to read to you guys, it was inspired by the old folks who sit at Hardee's every single morning. It's from my chapbook I had to turn in for Britton Shirley's class. You can pick that up for $19.95 after I'm through here today. This poem is called The Regulars. Monday through Sunday, the diner on the corner is filled with familiar faces and iffy expectations, where the coffee is bottomless and the eggs are smiling upward from a warm porcelain plate, at classic facial expressions and beer guts kept in check by the wonders of elastic slacks. A constant flow of tidbit chatter hums through 100 hearing aids. Tuesday morning armchair quarterbacks quibble about what should have been called, struggling to talk over the cries of "order up" from the waitresses, which by now are just one of them, another regular. This next one goes out to not that special someone, but that only someone, and I wish they were in the crowd today. Wishes that can't be made. Eyes that mimic a winter's night, but hair like an autumn day. Perfect in itself, but I fear I've overstayed. Tell me, am I welcome to weightless days, moments like the movie scenes, and truth that only happens in dreams? Or did I let time erode those chances? Countless constellations of unrequited desire find comfort in me, but display me as a liar, whose victim is himself, and you sit blind to this, indifferent to the matter. From nights I'll always miss. But please, keep your pity. Right now it's my one request, and as the years have passed, I realize that I'm not that blessed. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lori Davis, and my first poem is called The Projects. Before this was a silent, lifeless field, it was a stacked up, cracked up city, where welfare queens held court under the shady oak tree, where children played oblivious to gunshots they knew were not firecrackers, where drug dealers were celebrities, selling death and becoming it, more funerals than graduations. Before this was a silent, empty field, there were politicians' plans for better lives and housing, knowing their complicity for this hell of their designing, They erase mistakes with fences, cranes, and bulldozers, leveling, making sterile. But where are the souls of these people? And my second poem is called Dialysis. Bright lights, blood in tubes, nurses with face shields like medieval knights crusading against dirty blood. Antiseptic burning my nose, waiting, needles, administrators of torture. Time to read, pray, and contemplate choices. Wanting to burst free and live each moment. Thump, tick of machines. Beep, beep, screeching alarms. Cold pain, one drop at a time. Cramps, light-headed grimace. Warriors become angels of mercy at first sign of my distress. Each drop of blood cleaned.
Hi, my name is Paula Faith, and this first poem that I'm going to read is a Starry Night, and it's from Van Gogh, from a painting. The town does not exist except where one black tree slips up like a drowning woman into the hot sky. The night is alive with 11 stars. The moon is full, yellow and orange. The mesmerizing sky is dark. It moves, and they're all alive. The second poem is from some that we have read in the class, and it's like a list poem, and it's called Things That Are Priceless. Spanish olives stuffed with garlic or anchovies and all, crumbled feta cheese, very cold beer, oysters on the half shell, watching a sunset in the early spring at the beach, Playa de la Costilla, walking my dogs, Ginger and Moses in the park, fishing for bass, the crisp smell of the rain, colorful fall leaves, budding spring flowers, my son Justin, listening to classical music, taking a hot bath, going to a bullfight, Spanish blood, great art, Van Gogh, Monet, children and loved ones.
Okay, my name is Ramona Gardea, and I wasn't sure what to read, so I'm going to go with my music-based ones. I'll find them. Okay, first one is an ekphrasis poem, and it's based on an old Pink Floyd album cover. It's called Summa Cum Amagama, per Pink Floyd. 4 versions of the same 4, or so it appears. The farthest, the faint fifth, is small, unclear. Draw near to look, it blurs away. 4 glimpses of 4, pink gentlemen, switching places, changing faces, seeing more through a window, frame, a door. 4 times 4, what is seen is the same, but shown in different ways, interchangeable while unique. 4 versions of the same 4, a recurring current of convergence. Look deeper, it repeats, replete with reprise. Okay, second one is because Kelsey asked for it, so you can blame her. This is an epistle poem, which is basically a kind of letter poem. It's called I Wish I Could Enjoy a Mars Bar, no. A bowl of goat's head soup, no. Tea at 3 with Sir Michael Philip Jagger. God damn you, Mick Jagger. I say that because I care, and because you'll never know the amount of grief I've gotten over the years, all because of my proclamations of admiration for you and your music. My mother is heartbroken, asking herself, dear God, where did I go wrong? She tried an early intervention one Christmas when I was 10 by getting me a couple of Rick Springfield cassettes to go with my new Walkman knockoff. It didn't work. My college roommates were horrified by the shrines I erected to you on my side of the dorm. I just couldn't bring myself to bow down to the grunge gods of the day. And I did apologize whenever my posters and or memorabilia fell over on them. My friends shake their heads, hoping this long-lasting phase will end someday. They should know better by now. Even my husband worries I'd leave him for you. but he shouldn't, as I'm quite enamored of the great big doofus. I mean him, not you. However, I will admit that if I had my druthers and the aid of a Wayback Machine, I'd be sorely tempted by your late 20s and early 30s gaze. Actually, I'll go so far as to push this to anything pre-emotional rescue. What can I say? Your grizzled old prospector's beard scared me. So again, I say, God damn you, Mick Jagger. Sometimes I wish you'd leave me alone. My life's complicated enough as it is. But before you do, just sing Come On for me one time. What, you were expecting a request for Cocksucker Blues? I know better than that. And not just a fast, super sped-up version either, just so you can get it over with quickly. Why? Because it'd probably make you squirm or laugh. With any luck, both. Oh, I almost forgot there's one more thing, but you do get a choice. It has to be performed either in a spangled jumpsuit with full sparkly makeup or the sad wizard costume from their satanic majesty's request. I have my reasons. Let's just leave it at that. Besides, it's the least you could do for an old friend. Could be worse. I could have asked for the inclusion of the giant inflatable phallus from the 1975 tour of the Americas. Yours, some girl.
Hi, my name is Curtis Haig. I try to instill my unique outlook on life in each of my poems, and so hopefully you'll get some of that in what I read today. The first one is called Comfort. Soft blue blinking lights, a fan's monotonous drone. Everything exactly where you left it the day before and before that. Piles of clothes, unused in your drawers, next to everything collected over the years. A weekly calendar advertising 3 weeks ago reminds you of the missed appointment. The doctor will call to reschedule, again, encourage a visit. In years previous, this lifestyle would have been attested, inactivity considered a sin. Now, it is the only way. Hiding behind pills and years of over-medication, what else is there but the monotony, a burden? This second poem was inspired by state fairs and how different they are from everyday life. The poem is entitled At the Fair. Head spinning faster than the kids on the teacup ride, and I'm lost among the crowd. The vendors taunting impossible to win prizes to the teenagers more interested in held hands and soft embraces than fuzzy pink teddy bears and the pure elation of the children. With hands covered in caramel and cotton candy because they are unconcerned and unaware that nearby souls hang precariously in place, upside down at the crest of a loop, desperately clinging to the loose change in their pockets while forcing a smile and squelching confused screams as they try to find their way in a mirror-filled funhouse aptly named life.
Hello, my name is Laura Hendrickson. My first poem is called Amaranth. My life is a collection of love stories, few that have ended already, covers now collecting dust, characters now silent, content to lie still between sheets of white. So many unfolding slowly, waiting for an end or hoping against it, accustomed to the slow pattern turning of pages, ready for the occasional plot twist to shift it all retrograde. Some not yet written, blank leaflets of promise, waiting for the dark ink of blood to set a course, and the inevitable intense moment after which everything changes and a flurry of tattered letters become emotions for which there are no words. And my second poem is called Judith Slang Holofernes, which is based on a painting of the same title, and it's a subject that's been painted many times, but the one that I chose is by Artemisia Gentileschi. What did you whisper, Judith, to beguile him so? What did you do to earn his trust so that you might find yourself in control of his fate? And in that apex moment, did the sword grow heavier than 100 stones? Did your heart beat so loud in the darkness that you feared he would wake, startled? Did you doubt your strength to rend his body and send his spirit crashing to hell? I know, Judith, that in the end, rage is what propels us, compels us to take the final step, to cross the line, to commit to the act. I know, Judith, that when the blood drenched your hands and warmed your flesh, only that moment existed, and the silence of his protest was all that you desired. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Alexis Jones. My first poem is Things You Always Ignore. Snapping, sneezes, thank yous, teases, racism, ringing of her cell phone, drugs. The people around her when she's reading, the sound. Hunger commercials, full price items, alarms, cab horns, tuna, rainy days, coffee but not the smell. Scary movies, seduction, sadness, sympathy, seatbelts, razors, hunting, hammocks, Harry, love, lust, and liars, the things that no one can ever imagine to ignore. And my second poem is Every Princess Has Their Dragon. My favorite house, the house I never wanted to leave or have a bad memory hold its place there. She would never hurt me, so I thought, but I knew it was not intentional, not her, others maybe. But was it the lie or the blood that hurt my 8-year-old soul? The lie of her telling me the red was not there, it didn't hurt all that much. But this was a little princess in her castle, never a broken bone or heart. But that day, the skin had cracked on top of my head with that swift moment of my world's hand. Opening that cabinet, the blood, it brought my crown down with the tears and terror.
Hi, my name is Russell Moore, and poetry has been probably my best form of release for the past couple of years, and these poems really portray that. This first poem is titled Dear Emily. It's a letter poem. Dear Emily, what can I say? For starters, it hurts. It all hurts. Why? Because everything turns to a dark billow of what I'd call hell. I remember joy feeling warm and bright, like a red or orange. But now when I feel happiness, it soon fades to black. Maybe hell is out for me. Who knows? Maybe when I die, God will explain it to me before he casts me wherever it is he sends me. Heaven, hell, purgatory. I don't know anymore. Sometimes I just want to go away and start over. Maybe Washington, or Colorado, or Pennsylvania. Happiness sure as hell isn't here. Death might be a nice change. I've knocked at its door a few times, but once I was too scared to pull the trigger, and the other times the bleeding stopped before I was too far gone. Someone or something must really want me to be here. All I'm sure of is that my heart feels cold and shattered. I fear I may be too far gone. This next poem is titled Shades of Gray. Everything seems to blend now into one dull sense. Nothing is bright, but nothing is dark. All just shades of gray. The puncturing I feel in my heart is so hard to hide. The mirage I put in front of others' eyes, it's fading, and as the haze clears, more of me is revealed. It hurts so much. The lying, the screaming, the beatings, I can't take them anymore. The blood that pours from my heart is hard to see with only your eyes. You must feel it. The stitches and staples that hold it together are weakening with every strike. How much longer can it hold? Not sure. The bloodlust I taste, it cries for revenge, but my heart can't take that. It screams out silently, watching, waiting for someone to help. But there is no one. There was no one to sew back my torn heart. I didn't want to leave a note. I let them just guess why. With barrel in mouth, I almost pulled the trigger, but I couldn't. I was too weak. Days, months, years go by, and the pain dulls some with each word written. This blood-stained paper, a reminder of what is, what was, and what shall be. For not only is this a broken heart, but a broken soul. With each fake smile, I find myself dying somewhat more. Am I human? I don't feel like it anymore. Just a hollow shell of a creature long forgotten by the world.
Hi, my name is Melanie Reason. I'm going to be reading from my chapbook. It's called Ignition. It's really based on that moment right before things happen, like the combustion right before you light a match, like that moment of in between. I feel like that's maybe where some of these poems came from. So the first one's entitled After the Ether. Before the Berlin Wall came down, I was free. I worked a bun coffee pot from a chair pushed up to the counter. Before I chained my wrist with a watch, I was infinite, counting ages by fractions, measuring time in passing phone poles from the back seat. I played birds with my fingertips, squeezing my right eye shut. Before I knew consequences, I was limitless. I knew simply everything. Before breasts, I was proud. I commanded a bold army of imagination. I was all possibility wrapped in promise. Before all the miles on my engine, I gathered steam along dry creek beds, digging geodes and making magic. Before I opened my mouth, I tasted fear in pennies. Before I knew my worth, I cowed. Before poetry, I was a dead limb dangling. Long before my first car, I had only half my teeth, but twice the smile. I came out singing with no words in a halo of flame before the damp of living set in. The second one is we were assigned to either write a love poem or a death poem, and I couldn't really relate to either one of those. I couldn't think, I'm not in love, I don't, but I have a beautiful 2-year-old daughter, and once you've had a kid, you realize that you have never been in love like that before. So that's what this is about. And it's called Daughter. I have a love like the fresh crack of a new soda. It's the free swing of a first haircut or the thrill of Christmas Eve. She makes me want to roll my car windows down and shout her name to pedestrians just to prove she's real. Her soft breath is so sweet, I quit buying donuts. I make excuses to linger and take the sidewalk so we have to hold hands. I want to sing odes to her fat cheeks. I would quit my job and devote myself wholly to grubby hands and sticky kisses. I would amass a fortune and spend it all on fruit snacks and animal stickers, because our love is the clapping of plastic shoes on the kitchen floor, the moment of hang time midair on a trampoline. I would surrender my sight just to hear her laugh. And our hearts call out to each other in beats like African drum rhythms when we share pillows in our blanket teepee.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Schaefer, and I am reading poems from my chapbook entitled Watching Airplanes. The first one I want to read is a euphrastic poem written based on the statue, The Thinker. It's called The Thinker, a poem, and what I've endeavored to do is possibly create a story as to why he has been frozen in time in this contemplative state that he is in. Perhaps you were a young man, virile and strong in the prime of life, a beautiful woman, your future bride. You had a picnic by the river, you, her, and a basket. Wading into the water, you laughed as mud and toes mixed. It seemed like a good idea, but the speed of the rapids proved erroneous. In a moment, she was gone. You tracked her downstream, screaming her name, reaching and grabbing for hands, feet, anything to save her. All you could manage was a piece of lace from her dress. They dragged the bottom and searched the bank. Your love would not allow you to leave. All day and night, you kept a vigil at the lake. And then the second one I'm reading is entitled You See Me in the Crowd. I was inspired to write this. It's a persona poem, and I was inspired to write this about 4 o'clock one morning. I was asleep on the couch, and a music video come on. Some of you may know it. It's Trace Adkins' video, Arlington. And so this is written in the perception of in the persona of an American soldier. Like anybody, but I am not others. Few have seen what I have seen, the places, sacrifices, wounds, the hell. When Uncle called, I dropped it all and answered. Al Anbar province, Iraq, by way of Germany. No vacation, but a job that must be done. A mission for my wife and kids, for your wife and kids and you. The C-130 sets down on hostile sand. I whispered a prayer that all on this plane go home. The reality, some will go wrapped in old glory. We hit the ground, herded into briefing, what to watch for, women, children, dead camels, all looking for blood. My firefight happened in the middle of a dirt street. We took any cover available, falling in behind an old car, more rust than vehicle, swallowing hard, thinking I am somewhat safe, I returned fire. Blessed to survive my first attack, the same could not be said for Johnson and Moore. This fight produces 2 dead Americans and 12 Iraqis, nothing else. I spend a year in this place growing hard, the chore of killing replaced with slight enjoyment. I hate this hellhole and can't wait to get home. Soon I am on the C-130, homebound. It's nice to be back in my bed, to shower, shave, and brush my teeth every day, but I am not the same. My eyes closed for sleep, I am back over there. At home in body, not in mind, I hear the screams and cries for mama as soldiers lay dying, the things these eyes have taken in. Thank you.
All right, I guess it's my turn. My name's Dennis Sharp. I've got this fun little chapbook that I made for Britain. It's called Fresh. I'm supposed to introduce myself, tell the audience my name. I think I've covered that. Say a little bit about my poems. They're in this book. They're pretty cool. I liked writing them. Where did I get the idea? Britain made me. What inspired me? Pretty much all the people you've been seeing read. That's what inspired me. They're a great group, and I'm going to really, really miss having them in class. I'm supposed to read, shut up. I'm supposed to read slowly, I'm supposed to read carefully, and read loudly, so we're going to see how that works. The first one I'm doing is called Hideous Holiday Pants. 5 at Christmas, and Mother still picked my clothes. I ran, I played, got dirty for the years and the months that led up to that morning. I trusted my mother's love, not missing father or grandfather's fists, but her direction, her vision, trusting the truth of mother to guide the white shirt whose eggshell buttons I'd lost more than one of, the clip-on striped tie, the polished patent leather shoes. They made me feel like the little man they called me. But the train wreck of those hideous red polyester pants, they let me lose faith in mother's choices, sowing seeds for rebellious years to come. And my next one, for your approval, is called The Words. It's an Ars Poetica, which is a poem about poetry, because Britain's not here to tell everybody that. So, hunched over a plastic wood grain table, remembering nights spent in a lake house with red shag carpet and a recovering heroin addict whose stale breath kisses were as memorable as her hips. The words find me. They free me to discuss those things that can only be whispered. How guilt still eats at me deep down, from minivan front seat indulgences with a girl of a dear friend while drunk over a decade ago. Expression of repressed emotion as much as thought, these verses, these simple words. Some real, some self-created, at the point of impact with the page. From the glow of wonder in my daughter's smiling eyes at her first experience with ice cream, to the disgust I felt, knowing that the velvet tongue of the beautiful girl I loved kissing me to sleep was still thickly coated with more than just the memory of him. If not for the words, if not for their escape onto the paper, all those things I hold tightly imprisoned in my mind would have gridlocked me to death by now. So thank God for the verses, for the freedom they provide, the demons they exercise, and the sanity they allow.
Hey, my name's Ryan Thornton, and the first poem I want to be reading is a poem about poetry, and it's called Rackle Fackle. This poem begins with this. It then concludes with so powerful. It has 25 lines, and for the most part doesn't rhyme. It's a poem that's full of itself, autobiographical. It was written today, maybe tomorrow will be read, then one day I'm sure forgotten. It stays on the point, except here, or maybe right here. But when it runs out of words to say, it simply makes up its own, like Fofo Folly, Questron, or even Rackle Fackle. But that's beside the point. When do ideas become knowledge? Does the organization of these words make this poem one unit, as a whole, inseparable, undivided? If it changes, does it make these words live? Does that make me a literary god? I control its fate. I could let it live, grow, or die. I've never felt so powerful. And then the second poem is called On a Swing Set After a Rainstorm. The sun isn't out today, and I sit here enjoying it, hanging over the moist ground slowly in motion. And for every time I move forward, I move just as far back. Birds chirping, sounds of bugs calling out from the grass. A dog barks loudly in the distance, no regard to the people around him. And here I am surrounded by rust and chipped blue paint in a place that hasn't been touched in years. There's water dripping behind me. A bug sits beside my foot, cleverly disguised as a twig. Moving slowly, he turns and looks up. He doesn't want me to notice him, but I do. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Kelsey Walden, and hello. And it's really hard to read after everyone else is gone. I mean, Joel's after me, but there are so many good writers in this class, and all you guys are really awesome. And you've all inspired me, and in my writing this semester. And like Dennis, I am going to miss everybody. It's been really fun. But the first poem I'm going to read is a persona poem called Easy Rider, and it's about an easy rider. It's pretty self-explanatory. My mind is vivid. It breathes in thoughts on a lonesome desert highway. I ride still horses and lean against the wind. Late at night, I howl at the moon. The sun rises and smiles on my back. I ride beneath its warmth, and its blanket never fails me. The road is more promising than a lover. It is the buzz from a good smoke, a letter from a good friend, always inviting, dependable. I'm a prisoner of its painted passageway. For me, life is a seat of wonder, a never-ending landscape of content. The distance which pains others sets me free. Where one heart has soured, the other is growing deep into the earth, but never rooting itself. And the second poem is a nostalgic. I've been made fun of all semester for the way I say poems, so I don't know. Okay. They're laughing at me. This poem is called The Fair, and Curtis also wrote a poem about the fair, and I didn't know that, but this song is, or this, not song, I'm a songwriter too. This poem is about the fair. I remember county fairs that smelt like sweat and horse manure, the fried food as sweet as the powder on a funnel cake. Our mothers dropped us off near the gate so we could walk in by ourselves. The rides were rusty and unsafe. We rode them anyway because these were our moments. On a muggy summer night, we might slide off into the dark and kiss somebody for the first time, our hearts running like an engine, the faint screams in the distance. I would never tell what we did. He would tell we did something more. I remember being embarrassed, not flattered.
Here we go. Hi, my name is Joel Wiggins, and my chapbook is called Poems to be Read While Hugging a Dolphin in Erstwhile Czechoslovakia. I'm framing the moment, people, okay? All right. My first work is a letter poem. It is called A Letter to Ted Krasinski. Ted, I just wanted you to know that. Hold on, let me slow down. Ted, I just wanted you to know that in the event of your demise, I will be disassembling your lawnmower and then shuttling each of its pieces into the farthest recesses of the ocean's black depths, beyond what man has ever dared in his wildest conquests to know. I will then spend my remaining days climbing the rungs of our modern political society in order to curry a power so unyielding, so demonstrative, that mentions of mere whispers of my name will shake loose the stools of our great nation's bravest men like the mealiest of apples from a windswept tree. With this crucible of divine right, I will then fashion a law prohibiting old bastards with nothing else to do, whomever they may be, from mowing their goddamn grass at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Please, either tell your family to vote for me or give me until 10. Jeff. Okay, I'm shaking like a leaf here. And my second one is called Vacation. My poems speak for themselves, obviously. Okay. Vacation. When waves crash into white flowers upon jagged rocks and smooth beaches, where there are no cell phones and no need, you forget your doorman's wrenching handshake and notice only the shape of her hips across island firelight, the flames blooming in citrus behind the slow sway of her hair, and you love not knowing her name. Beer in hand, you think to yourself as the half-past clicking of crab shells applauds your wise decision to escape. It is then that you regret never taking the time to lose track of it until now. And as the ice-scraping duties in an Albany parking garage commence, your best self quickly compresses into a series of payment periods. Welcome home. Thank you. Everybody, great job. Thanks for all your applause.
Thank you all for coming out. If you haven't signed in, just to let us know who all showed up, there's some sign-in sheets by the poinsettias, which are poisonous, so do not eat them. There are trays with cookies and Chex Mix and Crunch and Munch, which are edible. So hang out, enjoy yourself, and look at the art. Thank you.